Hey everyone, welcome to Talking Technique. This is Ari today with a chromatic run, riff, whatever you want to call it. But I want to show you how you can use chromatic approaches to liven up a bass line by teaching you this lick. I'll also show you how to come up with different fingerings for these type of situations. One that will also include extended fingering. These kind of grooves are applications galore for all these permutation exercises that I've always been recommending in Talking Technique in various variations since episode 1, quite a while ago. So very warm welcome, and let me break this down for you. The musical concept in this lick which is in D, D basically in the D major pentatonic scale, but with lots of approach notes or chromatic transition notes, so to speak. So basically we're adding notes like the flat 3, or we are adding a 4 to the sharp 4 to the 5, or we're adding the flat 6 going to the 7, or we're going chromatically to the root. And all of these notes just create additional colors and create a really driving groove. So in that first phrase there, we're going to the minor third. And then we aim towards the major third. And because we're doing this with this approach, it's a nice little ramp up to the major third. And then we're doing the same thing towards the fifth, coming from the 6, flat 6, fifth. What we also have in this first measure is this constant return to the D. This is a chromatic approach towards the root from the flat 7, and then we're just playing the diatonic, if you will, if the chord is D7. We're playing diatonically back up to the D, and then repeat. And then again from above, where we first play chromatically down to the major 6, and then back up to the 5. And then back down to the root from the 3. So these are all these long chromatic approaches that sound really hip and drive it forward, drive the groove forward. These sort of chromatic approaches you find in lots of tunes, like Teen Town, for example. So, this groove is made up out of repeating sections. Comes around a couple of times, and of one section that is different and fresh. So the repeating sections tie it all together, make it cohesive, and the last measure, for example, opens it up in such a way that gives the whole groove more variety and structure of 4 measures. As always, use taste, use your ears. Make sure if you use something like that in a band context, come up with your lines like that and make sure that it fits with what the rest of the band is doing. Fingering with these things is really crucial. It's very hard to learn a busy line like that if you haven't figured out the best way, and stick with it. So in this Talking Technique, I will show you 2 kinds of fingerings. One that keeps you in the lower register of the bass, and one that keeps you in the upper register of the bass and incorporates a stretch fingering. In this fingering version that keeps you in the lower frets, you never have to stretch for more than 1 finger per fret. So it's always just 1 finger per fret, and the movements you're going to make are the typical permutation movements are centered around 1, 2, 3, 4. So don't have to make too many shifts. In the beginning here, this whole phrase, half of the entire groove stays in this area, and I don't have to move at all. Then, in the last part of it, the very last measure, I have have to jump up, but again, it's just 1 finger per fret, and then I jump down to the 3rd finger, and then I'm already in position for the rest of it. So the goal with all of these good fingerings is that you position your hand so you're ready to go for what's next. Like in this very last phrase, you want to go there with your 3rd finger. You don't want to go and have to jump down, or you don't want to go there with the 4th finger, because that wouldn't make sense for where you need to go then next. So you want to always think ahead, what's the best position for what's to come, and then be ready for it. In your handouts, you have a PDF called Higher Frets. Now, this fingering incorporates stretch fingering. It's quite a bit harder, quite a bit more challenging, but it's well worth it to sort out scenarios like that with different fingerings. For one, because it's a great practice to orient yourself on the fretboard in different areas, and it's also a really good, once again, technical exercise. So here we are talking technique style. We're going to make this a little bit harder by incorporating fingering that stretches over more than just 1 finger per fret. So now there's 1 finger that stretches over 2 frets. You know, the other thing that you practice when you come up with fingering like that is shifts, because to be able to do that, to have a shift in there that goes beyond the 1 finger per fret scenario, is very beneficial to have that under your belt. So now here I'm stretching. First I can do 1 finger per fret, but then I stretch. This is more than 1 finger per fret. And then here again, I'm just stretching outside of the 1 finger per fret position. In the second measure, we have to access the chromatic run towards the D. You could, of course, do that here as well and stretch your fingers in this fashion, but I think that one is really easier when you grab it from this on the same string. Plus, it allows for another great practice, and that is the switch on the same string from the 1 to the 4. Watch this. So this is the second measure. 1, 1, and then chromatically up, which is the same as in the other fingering. 1, 1. And this is a great exercise, you know, to be able to do this cleanly, maybe even without looking. That's really good. And then we're going back to our original position with the stretch fingering. And then when we're going to the high D chromatic, and then here's another shift like the one before, where we go 2, 3, 2, and then down to the 4th finger. Then we're back to the original position. So, but what we're doing here we are in fact grabbing the B, C sharp C on this lower string. So we're hanging out here for just this 1 quarter note and not for 2 as we did in the other phrase. So that may make good sense. So again, down from the high D, 2, 3, 2, and then make the hand smaller. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3, 4, 2, 1. That's a great workout for the hand. You really have to do 2, 3, 2. You could not, I mean, ideally my position would be to be there on the 3rd finger so that I'd be ready for my 4 right here. But if you do that, you have to switch on the same finger, and that just feels wrong to me. It's this much more elegant. So if you, and then we're doing the extended fingering for the chromatic walk up to the D on this string. So once again, slowly this other fingering. I'll slow that down to 75%. groove poses a little bit of a muting challenge, so I use my pinky, ring finger, and middle finger to mute these strings. And I wedge my thumb between the B and the E. Obviously, you can play this entire scenario with the 4-string just the same. But up here, when I go up to the B, I want to have these down to make sure I don't get a ring. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Talking Techniques signing off. I'm at respaceblock.com, Music Theory for the Bass Player, the book, the course, and lots of news coming. Make sure you subscribe so that you're in the know. I just want to mention that Music Theory for the Bass Player, the course, has an extensive technique section attached to it. It's all about theory, putting it to use on the fretboard, and good fingering and best technique practices is just makes for one wonderful package. And you can find out what other people are saying. We have lots and lots and lots of reviews. And if you would like to talk to any of our graduates, then we're happy to connect you up. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.